Hi, everybody. It's Matt Johnson from Primary Vision here today. I'm jumping into the cockpit here for a week as Mark Rosano has to handle some business. So we're just going to jump in here and go into the Frac Spread Count here for the week ending Friday, March 19th, 2021. And our number is 195. That's going to represent a 13-point jump week over week as we approach the 200 for the first time in, wow, what seems to be forever at this point, with the pandemic obviously taking us to all-time lows in 2020. Looking into last year and coming out of the pandemic times here, we're looking at getting above 150 and staying above that number now for multiple months. And I think the interesting part of the story here is the frac supply, and I'll come back to that in a little bit. But let's move on here to look at the last year's numbers, the Frac Spread Count 2020 versus 2021. Again, looking back at January of last year as we were north of 350. We don't know if that's going to happen quite in 2021 with the given frac supply and capacity issues that are out there. However, the fact that we're starting to crawl back to 200 is definitely positive news. We're looking for greater efficiencies per well. We're looking for less spreads doing more work, and we'll report on that a little bit more in the future as well. Moving out into 2021, moving into Q2, we're going to see an increase in pricing. And this is exciting news for oilfield service providers, again, as they look to get to a better utilization rate. Looking closely at those last 3 months, again, we can see that winter low of the storm back in Texas definitely in February affected the numbers, but we've recovered almost fully and obviously back to close to 200 spreads. Now, where has this activity materialized in the growth over just the last few weeks? Most of it has been in Texas. There has been some reports that the Powder River Basin is seeing activity. We reported to our customers this week that we've seen this activity. We're following it a little bit closely. But the rest of the north seems to be a little bit static. We've seen a couple more spreads in the Marcellus Utica area, but all of this has mostly been driven by Texas. So as we approach 200 here, our next big technical is going to be 215. We look for that hopefully to happen over the course of the next month as prices are still pretty good. Price decks are improved. And again, we look for oilfield service providers to kind of pivot back for the first time to operators and say, hey, we need better pricing for the first time in what will be years. At that point, there'll be some kind of fork in the road here for pressure pumpers to decide to potentially order more equipment down the road. We don't want to get too excited on that topic, but at this point, we're going to see capacity problems. We're going to see utilization get maxed out in just the next 3 to 6 months. So something to look forward to. Moving on, I just wanted to kind of share with everybody today an interesting article I read this week on, our low carbon future. We're going to put that up on the screen here, and I'll put the link to the article actually in their comments and so on. But, a lot of the discussion has been around, how do we make this big move, the big transition, the next big step into a carbonless world? Well, it's going to require these bridge fuels, as we've discussed on our show, we discuss and cover, and maybe probably show bias towards. However, natural gas is a big part of our future, but it can be a big part of our low carbon future too. And trying to get, some coverage on this without being biased from a company like ourselves, who obviously covers the market and thinks that, oil and natural gas is a part of our long haul. The short haul over the next 10 to 15 years in that transition involves all sorts of options, from geothermal, alternative energies from wind and solar, and then, of course, the hydrogen story, which is definitely being picked up and discussed much more each day, as well as the CISA story, the carbon capture, utilization, and storage story. That's very important. Well, how do we get there? We're going to get there with natural gas. And this article is really going to highlight a lot of that transition, how it makes sense and gets us into that low carbon future. So just wanted to share that with you today. Again, it's just a short show this week. Mark will be back next week early to jump in with David on Tuesday to go with the pregame show. And then, of course, Wednesday we'll have the EIA, the economy on Thursday, and the Frac Spread Count on Friday. Well, Friday, March 19th, Matt Johnson here, Primary Vision. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.